back to the channel. So I found an interesting flour on Amazon. It's called fiber flour, all right? And it's basically a 50-50 split of wheat flour and fiber. So you know how normal all-purpose flour has like 21 or 22 net carbs per quarter cup? This has 11. It's 21 total, but 11 of it is wheat flour and 10 of it is fiber. Now, in their defense, when they say how to bake with it, they tell you to take half a cup of this flour plus half a cup of all-purpose flour to equal 1 cup of all-purpose flour. So there's no guarantees that like this is going to replace your traditional all-purpose flour. But I'm curious because on keto, we're used to things not being perfect, but I don't want to have to buy different flours, get a different blend. Usually a seed or nut flour isn't enough to create like a nice smooth baking texture. So we usually have to add fiber, like oat fiber is a popular addition to a lot of other flours to make a smooth baked dish, whether it's breads or desserts. So I was curious if we could just use this by itself. It would save a lot of time, a lot of energy, and a lot of money. But we got to test it out. So the best way to test it, I thought, would be to make a pound cake, because a pound cake is mostly just butter, eggs, and flour. Plus, a leavening agent, but that's pretty much it. So I'm going to make it. Let's check out the results. All right, so here's the flour. The first thing I did was whisk the dry ingredients together. So that's your baking powder, your salt, and the flour. Once that was done, I started to cream the butter. I used allulose. I, of course, did not use sugar, so that's allulose is what you're seeing. I mixed that together for about 4 or 5 minutes because you want to get it nice and light and airy because you want the cake to have a good rise. Then, of course, you add your eggs, 1 egg at a time. Try to get it as best emulsified as you can. And then once all the eggs are mixed together, you're going to add your sour cream and your vanilla extract. The next step is to add your flour. I like to, just mix enough to get the flour mixed with the batter. Do not overmix or you could activate the gluten and get a bready cake. Usually what I'll do is I will use the mixer for a little bit and then I'll switch to the spatula because the spatula gives you more control and you can mix until you get a nice batter, which as you can see here with this flour, I really got a good batter. It made a really nice mix and it smelled great, which I really liked. So the next move is to use a non-stick spray. I like to, because it's keto, we can't butter and flour pan, we'll just add carbs. So I slick up the pan and then I add my batter. Then I like to use a spatula to add the batter to the loaf pan, which in my case was an 8.5 by 4.5, but a 9 by 5 should work. And then use that spatula to smooth out the top. And then I took a knife to cut the batter down the middle to see if I could get one of those split top pound cakes, which is kind of traditional. Then I put it in the oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, set it to 65 minutes. Now remember, every flour is different, every oven is different. Most pound cakes take anywhere from 65 to 75 minutes to cook. So be aware of that. If you're going to use this flour, you're going to have to control your baking time. After 65 minutes, I did the cake test and it was still had a little bit of batter. So I decided to put it in for another 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, I did the test again and it came out clean. I let the pound cake rest for at least 10 minutes. Actually, I went out and I did something that rested longer, but my recommendation would be let the thing rest for at least 10 minutes. And then finally, I took the pound cake out, and as you can see, it's a beautiful golden pound cake. I mean, that looks good. Now, because of the carb count on this flour, if you were to cut it in 1/2-inch pieces, you're looking at 4 to 4.5 net carbs per slice. If you cut it into 3/4 of an inch, you're looking at 6 to 7 net carbs per slice. If you cut into 1-inch pieces, you're looking at 8 to 9 net carbs per slice, which really isn't bad. One thing I noticed with this pound cake is it came out a little greasy, which tells me that, because this flour isn't like regular flour, You probably are going to have to adjust your liquids. I'm going to use less butter next time. That'll probably solve it, because sour cream makes the cake, gives it more moisture, but this one had a little bit of an oily run to it, so that's telling me I'm going to try less butter, maybe use a stick and a half instead of 2 sticks. But look how beautiful the crumb is on this cake. It's legit, and the texture was really good and the flavor was really good. So in conclusion, I really think this flour is a game changer in keto baking. I highly recommend you give it a shot. All right, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. And that being said, thank you very much for watching. Until next time, be well.